Hi, folks, and welcome back to working on our coding adventure. Last time we did a bunch of fairly linear coding. We did have a repeat loop in there, but we didn't have a lot of variables and changes and things. We're going to start getting into some of that stuff today. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. Now, when you get to Vexcode VR, if you're on the same device that you used last time, there's probably the code that you had last time in here. You can just take that and click on it and sweep left to get rid of it. It won't leave. You have to leave the when started tab, because even if you try to get rid of that, it's going to come back, because you have to have some way of starting your code. So what we're going to do here is we're going to draw a hexagon. Now, I can get rid of this. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to use some my blocks to create a set of code that can be kind of stored and then used when you want to use it. So the first thing I'm going to need you to do is to go to tutorials, click on tutorials, and you're going to watch this video right here. So pause this video and watch this my blocks video. Okay, so we're going to use those my blocks a little bit later in this lesson. But for now, what I'm going to ask you to do is to draw a hexagon. Now, later in this, you have a guy that's talking about drawing a pentagon. And I'm going to have you translate what he does into what we're going to do. We're going to use a hexagon instead of a pentagon. Now, last class, you drew one and we moved, and then we went 60 degrees and we moved and we moved. We're going to do that a little bit different this time. So I'm going to control my length and my angle with these things called variables. Variables are a numeric value that can be changed. So if you come down here to variables, we're going to start with this. Click on variables down here on this side. And we're going to make a variable. So click on make a variable, and we're going to call the first one length, which is going to represent the length of the line. It doesn't like that a code word. That is a Vexcode code word. Hold on, I'm going to figure this. Okay, so here's what. Let's start that over again. Go ahead and hit make a variable, and we're going to call it hex length. Now you can't have any spaces in there, so call it hex length. Okay, now even though that's we're going to call that. So now you'll see that when you go to my variables, there's a hex length right there. We're going to make another one called hex angle, and no spaces. Okay, so now we have some things that we can change, assign a number value to, and so on and so forth. So what I'd like you to do now is open up Playground, and let's go to the grid map, just the first one that pops up. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is have this guy move forward about 500 millimeters. So as we did last time, and as we're going to do every time, we're going to set our drive velocity and our turn velocity to 100%. So it's a little bit faster when we go test this. All right. Now, I'm going to drive forward for 500 millimeters before I start drawing anything. So let's drive forward for 500. And now we're going to go ahead and drop the pin. So you can set your robot pin color to whatever color you want. I'll do red this time. And we're going to move the robot pin down, and we're going to start drawing. We're going to start drawing our hexagon, okay? So now what we're going to do is I need to set what my length is going to be, and I need to set what my angle is going to be. So we're going to go back to variables, and we're going to say, and we're going to put two of these guys in where we're setting it. So I'm going to set my hex length to, let's do 500 for now. And we're going to set our angle to 60, because that, if you'll recall, is the right interior angle for a for a hexagon. So I've got everything set now and I'm ready to start drawing. So this is where I'm going to bring in my repeat loop. So we're going to go to the control. We're going to repeat. Now it's a hexagon, so we're going to repeat it 6 times since it's 6-sided. And what we're going to do is we're going to drive forward. Now this time, I'm going to drive forward for, let's make it 500 millimeters. Okay. And then, I'm sorry, I take that back. What we're going to do is instead of make it 500, we're going to put in our variable in there. We're going to put in our hex length. So you're going to take that and drag it into that little pill-shaped spot right there. So we're driving forward hex length. We set hex length to 500. So now it will be driving forward 500. Now we're going to set our angle or we're going to turn to a certain heading. So we're going to come up to our drivetrain and we're going to turn our heading. Now what that means is right now, pointing straight up is at either 0 or 360 degrees, the same thing, okay? As we start turning right, we're going from 0 to 10 to 20 to 90 degrees, right? So we want to turn our heading 260 degrees from where we are right now. So instead of going this amount, oops, I don't know what happened, right? Somehow I undid what I did. That was supposed to be, this was supposed to be hex length in there. Okay, I don't know why it wasn't. And then we're going to turn to heading, whatever hex angle is. Okay, now, what's going to happen right now is if we do this, we run it, it'll go and it'll start drawing, it'll go, and then it's going to have a problem. It's just going to keep going. It's not changing that angle. That angle is still, and we even ran off of the edge. That angle is still always going to be 60 degrees until I change it. So now what we need to do is we need to change that variable. So we're going to come to change the variable. And the word change normally means add, right? So we're going to change hex angle by 60. And what that's going to do is 6 times, it's going to go that 500, okay? And it's going to turn to 60 degrees. Then it's going to change that angle to 60 and another 60 and another 60 until we're done. So now, as I run this, it should continue to change it by 60 6 times. All right. Now, let's say I want to do that again from where I end up. I can take this repeat block. Oh, there's where that thing ended up. I don't know. I accidentally didn't put it in there. All right, so I can take that whole block and duplicate it. Okay. And now let's just say that I'm going to add one little thing here. Okay. So hex length was set to 500 here. Okay. And let's say I'm going to make it, I don't know, I want to add another 200 millimeters to it. And to make it so it's total, whoops. I wanted to put that in the beginning. Sorry. Okay, watch what I'm doing here. I want that before I start. Right. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. This is where coding gets to be, you have to think a little bit, and I just lost my head. Okay, I need to, before I get into this group, I want to change my hex angle by 200. I'm going to make it 200 bigger. Now I can do that repeat loop again, but it should make that bigger. So watch what happens now. Should make the hexagon. This is why we make it 100% so that we're not bored by how slow it goes. Because otherwise it would be going half the speed. Now it's going to draw again. Uh-oh. Oh my God, I've never seen that happen before. Okay, let's think about what happened and why it went off. Oh, I know what I did. I changed my angle by 200. That's what's wrong. I meant to change my hex length.
by 200. Okay, now we're good. All right. Now we should work. And it's going to go, and it's going to go, and it's going to go. And so I changed my angle by 200 degrees. That was the problem. There we go. And now we're making a little bit bigger X. Okay, so now that we've got that set of code, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and show your 2 hexagons. You're going to take a picture of that. So you're going to include, get this kind of close to your code so that you can include a picture of all your code and your 2 things. Now, hold on. One little thing before you do that. As always, I want to put a little comment in there. And we're going to put, let's put that comment right up here just before we start. Now, a comment is a little bit different than print. It's not going to show anything. It's just a note to yourself. But I'm going to put my name. And put my name draws a hexagon. There. That way your name is part of this. And you're going to take a picture of all of this and your 2 hexagons after they've been drawn and submit that as part 1. Part 2 is going to be to watch another video and do and emulate what he does, which is also dealing with the blocks part of things. Now, before we do that and we get into that part, I'd like you to take this from this part where we change hex length and just get rid of that. So we're leaving just this code right here. Make sure your code looks just like this. Now, the video that you're going to watch is going to be a teacher that is going to show how to do this with using my blocks, and he's doing it with a pentagon. So my code the code that you just made is making a hexagon. It's a little bit different, but you got to be smart, and you're going to do what he does, but instead of doing a pentagon multiple times, you're going to do a hexagon multiple times. And at the end of that, you're going to take a picture of all your code. Try and include the my blocks that you made. You might have them over here or below or whatever. If it's a little bit small because you had to zoom out. By the way, to zoom, you hit the control button and roll your mouse wheel, and that will take you zoomed in and out. Get me a picture of that when you're done. Put it in there, and we've talked about variables and we've talked about my blocks, and next time we're going to talk about loops like while loops and if-else statements and some other things that give us more power in coding. All right, have fun with it. Talk to you next time.